So good. All right, we are live. It is another week and another episode of Chiropractic is Sexy Halloween
edition.
Style. I'm Dr. Paula Ruffin.
I'm Dr. Erica Peabody, being cheer bear today. So I got my, and then Lisa's grumpy bear or whatever that one is, the blue one.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's I was saying that I feel like I would want to take a nap because you look so cozy.
Yes.
And I would be wanting to find a nap spot. What's that?
It's a little on the warm side.
Is it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I didn't even think about that. I know. Well, so we are here today to bring you guys another episode of Chiropractic is Sexy. And this one is, I mean, they're all near and dear to our hearts, but this one, Dr. Eric and I live our lives always challenging our bodies. And so we really wanted to have this conversation again, which it can never be stated enough. And it's stop babying your body. The truth about comfort and aging, and how when we always seek comfort, that we're actually doing our bodies a disservice. So we're going to dive in today with a little bit more in detail about if you really want to have longevity, if you want to have a good, long, optimized life with wonderful health, then it's really important that we pay attention to what we do with our bodies and what we don't do with them, and how chiropractic fits into all of that.
There is a lot of people have heard the name Gary Brecka, but he has this great line that says, aging is the constant and continuous pursuit of comfort. And it's so profound. I mean, when I first heard that, I don't know, a couple of years ago, I was like, that is super profound and comfort in so many ways. But it starts immediately with, okay, so I have a new patient as of yesterday. She was just on the table again. And she has been she's been sick for 3 years. She just moved here in June, and she's been looking for the proper chiropractor. But I said, here's the thing. As we go through this, it's going to be uncomfortable initially to start to get adjusted because your body is in so much discomfort anyway. And one way you could get through this really easily, just take a bunch of drugs. You'll feel fine. You will continue to age your body at exponential levels just by doing that, because we're not listening to the body signals. And she's not willing to do that anymore. And I'm like, here's the thing then. You've got to stick with the plan. And I don't care what you feel like after your adjustments.
It's not quick, and it's not overnight.
And it's not fun. It's not fun initially. Eventually, it gets to the point where you feel amazing. You leave our office feeling amazing. And she's like, I actually felt really good yesterday when I left here. And then she said, after I slept, it was like, I could just tell my muscles are responding and reacting. I'm like, that's why we're doing these 2 visits back to back. We've got 3 visits next week. And then we're just going to reevaluate at the end of next week. We'll either keep her on 3 times a week, because she's been 3 years of being sick. So she's got all kinds of things going on, but, and she's young. I mean, like mid-50s, and she's been 6 years of chronic stress and 3 years. And it actually stemmed from COVID. And then she got cerebral vascular disease and also idiopathic pancreatitis. And the docs are all like, well, this is from COVID. Like, that whole time, like, we have no idea what that thing did to our bodies. Not the vaccine, the actual virus.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway.
Well, and I don't know if you get pancreatitis from a virus as much as you're going to get it from a toxic world and over-toxic environment and poor diet and lifestyle, and what led to that. And I always think about, and I don't know the patient, but what is it about her constitution and the way she's lived life that got her to a point where her body was so sick that it got sick and stayed sick for 3 years, because that typically doesn't happen in a healthier environment.
Right. I think it was the 6 years of chronic stress, because when you look at her, she's super light in the eyes, super light in the skin. And she's now walked the path over these last 3 years. I'm like, I'm so glad you're here. Yeah. But she did have I would say, okay, so this kind of goes back to last week's episode about the chaos and like not being able to manage when the body's stuck in this fight or that's what it's been. It's stuck in the fight or flight. And her regular MD was actually talking about, she's like, actually her intake paperwork says, I'm in chronic fight or flight. I am in PTSD. And so that went on for long enough, those 3 years. And then, yeah, got sick and stayed sick. And she, fortunately, I know that I'm going to be able to work with her well because she has other really healthy lifestyle choices. But anyway, the analogy I said just now, like 10 minutes ago, was in order to clean your garage out, you have to sometimes make a humongous mess in your driveway. And you've got to figure out what needs to stay, what needs to go, but you got to see it all. And we've got to rewind some of the stuff that got her to this point and unwind some of that. And that is no fun initially under that much stress for that chronicity of time.
Well, and seeking the comfort. So regardless of what she was going through or anybody else goes through, it's seeking the comfort of the quick fix. It's seeking the comfort instead of doing the work, instead of saying, okay, I'm going to dig my heels in. I know I need to be patient. In order for this to unwind, we have to do X, Y, and Z. And I know that's a process. It's that seeking comfort in, I'll feel better if I take a pill. I'll feel better if I do this. And this will work quickly. But then what does work mean? You know, it doesn't mean correction. It doesn't mean healing. It just means masking. It means covering the symptoms. It means helping you feel okay in the moment. But what does that have? What does that do for you long term?
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, you know, I look at stress on the body as we've been so conditioned as we get older, and I'm going to air quote that, is that it's just, oh, I guess it's just getting older. And I have women in their 50s and 60s who say, I guess it's just getting older. And I'm like, when they say that to me, it blows my mind. I mean, I'm 59 years old, and there's nothing inside of me that feels like that's even something that could come out of my mouth, because I feel so amazing and I push my body, and I know you push your body. We challenge ourselves, and we're constantly moving our bodies into a state of good stress so that the recovery, we become stronger on the recovery side of things. And I could never think, like, if I have an ache or a pain, I don't think about it as being aging. Like I keep saying, so Dr. Eric and I went to a Halloween party last weekend, and I sent my daughter a little video clip of the place that we were at. It was rock and club and music and everything. And my daughter responded back. She said, "Why are you 16 right now?" Mm-hmm. And I was like, I literally feel like I'm 30 years ago old. Like I just don't feel, and I don't know what 59 is supposed to feel like, but based on what all the 50s and 60 something women and even men, based on what they say, I'm like, since when does growing older mean that you have to let yourself go? Since when does growing older mean you exercise less? You like, it's okay. It's acceptable to have an extra 30, 40 pounds on your body. Like, since when is that a thing? Right. Like, we have to start tapping back into our power and take that back. Like, I lecture people when they give me the whole, I guess I'm just getting older. No, right. We're not accepting that narrative here, period.
Right. No, it is really interesting. And if any of you that are listening right now were out with us on Saturday, you would also see that Dr. Paula and I both fueled ourselves ahead of time. We didn't stop at fast food. Like, we didn't stop and grab a blah, blah, blah on the way because we didn't prep. So the discomfort there is like, you have to take the time to get the stuff in line. And then guess what? We had a couple of cocktails, but then guess what? We switched to water, and we still had a freaking amazing time. Both her and I are dog moms, and I really want to be home with my dogs at the end of the night. And I also want to wake up in my own bed on Sunday. We have our friend that we went out with. She has a home that could sleep 30 easily. We'd all have our own rooms, but it was so important for her, Dr. Paula, and I to make sure as we went into the day that we were super fueled. I had gotten out of the water, which is running about 55 degrees right now. I was surfing for a few hours. And then I got there and it was like, how much protein can we get right now? Stay away from the chips. Like Dr. Paula made fresh
Homemade
hummus,
hummus. And I
homemade
brought
hummus,
meatballs.
brought meatballs, like
Yeah.
all the things. And yeah, we had a couple shots of like a pumpkin liqueur and all of that. But once we got to the bar, we had one more drink and then we had 3 hours of dancing. Her and I will light up an entire room. You could join our dance party, even if there wasn't a dance party going on.
Totally.
That's
Yeah.
how we are. But we're like that because we also go to yoga. We're moving our body every day. Dr. Paula like pulled her entire garden out earlier that day. Like we're not sitting on the sidelines of our lives. And we're also making sure we're prepping ahead of time. I just had a patient group. It's a husband and wife and 3 kids. And they've been with 500, they're moving into 550 visits with me. If you do the math, that is a lot of visits with me. They've been under care for years, over a decade at this point. And they were just talking about, we were talking about, I said to them, when people come in here, they're now, the oldest is 16, 15 and 12, I think, are the age of the kids. And I said, you guys don't know this, but everybody that walks in and crosses your family's path while you're here, they just always admire how connected you guys are, how respectful you are to each other, how respectful you are of the space of the office and all of that. And I said, and you guys aren't the ones bringing chicken nuggets, McDonald's chicken nuggets into the office. Like I have families here that bring chicken nuggets because their kids, they can't sit for 3 minutes without the phone and they are too busy to stop and like go to the grocery store or prep food ahead of time. So anyway, and they're like, well, we have a chicken nugget story for you. And so they were so super busy years ago. So the mom said to the kids, can you please, we have so many more errands to run. I'm just going to run. Will you guys please just eat chicken nuggets? So they do the thing. She hands the chicken nuggets back to them. And she said, after the kids got out of the car, she went to the back seat and she said there was one bite out of chicken nuggets and chicken nuggets spewed everywhere. She said there was one bite out of a gajillion chicken nuggets. And it was like, this one tastes like crap. Let me try another one. Like mom wants to eat this crap, but this one tastes like crap. So they take a bite and throw it on the floor, take a bite and throw it on the floor. They were just sharing this with me. And I'm like, this is so epic because they're also gardeners. They have a sauna at home. They're here every week. No questions asked. They've been here for, I don't know what that works out to be, 10 years, once a week for 10 years. It's how you get 500 visits in a child's life. And, so anyway, it's the things that we do ahead of time. And it's the things that we do that are uncomfortable. It is so easy to get through fast food. It is so simple to go down and buy a $5 Big Mac, but it's also takes a little more effort, but you could also go right into the grocery store and then grab a salad instead. It's not through the drive-through. I get that. You got to get out of your car. You have to do some things, but that is the slight discomfort that leads to longevity. So I just wanted to share a couple of those stories just because, Dr. Paula can tell you too about, you get the two of us together and we will light up a plate and we're not hammered doing it.
Right.
It's just lit up from the inside.
There is an energy when we get together, and which I just adore. And for me also earlier that day. So as Dr. Erica had said, actually it was the day before I tore down my garden, and that was several hours. And I had my guys at the house, they were cleaning all my windows. And so I do the deep cleaning. So I had probably 8 solid hours between housework and gardening. And when I went into Saturday, the night of our party or the day of our party, I was wiped out and I couldn't figure it out. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So I went to yoga, didn't feel great in yoga. And then I came home and I took a nap, and I don't nap. And I rallied anyway. I was not feeling great. My energy was very low. And that's a whole side story, but it's nothing to be worried about. But anyway, I figured out that I ran out of my thyroid supplement. I don't know if I told you this, like a week before. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, ding, 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 ding. And so when you think about, just quick sidebar, when you're like, I don't think that supplement's actually doing anything, and then you stop taking it, you're like, oh shoot, yeah, that was really doing something. So anyway, so then the next day, so I rallied because the time together is so valuable. The comfort and ease would have been saying, you know what, you guys, I'm not feeling great, I'm going to stay home. Now, if I was feeling really bad, I would have, but I was teetering on that. And, but I went anyway, because I knew that being around these people and Dr. Erica and her other girlfriend was going to provide fuel. And so I had discomfort in getting out of, like, I wasn't feeling great, but I went out anyway. It wasn't contagious. It wasn't anything like that. It was just fatigue. Yeah. I know. You gotta like be like that. You're like spewing COVID all over the place. Anyway. But then the next day I woke up, I still wasn't feeling great. Got up, stayed in my pajamas. This is not my normal cycle. So when we talk about pushing your body, I do want to address the fact that when your body is telling you, giving you these messages, you do need to respect that. The problem is most people are living in the comfort most of the time versus the discomfort. Mm-hmm. And so I got up, I laid on the couch, I took another nap. I forced myself to get up and take the dog for a walk. So that did that for about an hour, energized me a little bit. Anyway, I'm feeling much better today. But the whole point is that if we continue to live in comfort, I feel like those moments when you're not feeling great become sort of white noise. Like you get more and more of those moments, and they don't alert you enough to say, maybe my body needs some care. Maybe I do need to step back. Mm-hmm. But you're not pushing the gas hard enough to begin with.
Right.
So start paying attention to that.
Yeah. We've always said, you know, if you've got a sports car, and in fact, that's why I didn't mean to be so rude, but I have this sports car. She shows up in 3 different vehicles. It's usually an El Camino that's completely redone. This looks like a Thunderbird, bright yellow. And she also has one other hot rod, and she comes in, she sees a therapist upstairs. Anyway, she has the t-shirt that we wore yesterday, which is basically a Halloween t-shirt. I'm just like, I got such a scene out my window. I couldn't avoid, but it's basically it looks like a murder t-shirt. So like a V-neck long sleeve, and it looks like blood all over one side of it. And it just says problem solved. And anyway, I just love the Halloween energy around, especially this building. So I didn't mean to be so rude, but I'm like, I have to get a picture of this problem solved shirt that we just had on yesterday. It was so fun. But yeah, it's so much about, and when I look at this vehicle right out my window, it's like pure joy. So I'm like really distracted by that, but I also drive around pure joy vehicles too. So anyway, what can you do to get out there and a smile on my face just because of that, a smile on my face because Dr. Paula made the effort to come out, even though I know she wasn't feeling good. And I'm like, all day I knew she wasn't feeling, I'm like praying. I'm like, we just need time together. We just need community. We need time together.
Always.
So anyway.
Well, and the whole sports car, and I did a video on this like years ago, and I talked about if somebody gave you a Ferrari, this sports car that you're looking at, if you got into that car and you were like, look, hey, let's go. Me. Right. And you're driving 20 miles an hour, like that sports car is designed to stomp on the freaking gas and go. Like you have got to challenge that car. Cars like that cannot not be challenged.
Right.
And I don't think we view our bodies, which we should view our bodies as these like just high functioning machines that are just capable of so much. And I know that if you took the time to challenge your body outside the limits of what you think you can do, you would be shocked at what your body can actually do, and your level of resiliency and the strength that you feel on the other side of it. It's amazing. So really look at your body. Like, what's your favorite sports car? You know, I mean, I'm like, I really want a Bentley Continental GT. That's my, whew, whew. She's a beauty. She looks beautiful and she drives beautiful. But I'm like, I'm not getting in my Bentley and I'm not going to get tickets, but I'm not going to be like 20 miles an hour down the road. You know, I'm going to stomp on the gas when I need to. So challenge it.
It is really interesting. So a lot of my practice knows that I've spent all summer chasing waves. So I'm a huge avid wake surfer. And it's very sad when we get to this time of the year, because it's getting in Michigan, it's getting a little bit too cold to be out there enjoying. However, it's getting a little bit too cold for other people to keep enjoying as of about a month ago. So everybody pulls their boats off, which gives us the entire lake. And so people say, aren't you cold when you're like, isn't it too cold to do that? So yeah, the water's 55 degrees. I got in the water on Tuesday night. I did pull my boat last night, which is a super sad day, but the boats can only handle so much cold temperatures. But I got to tell you, I feel amazing, not just because I'm surfing, but because of the cold water. Yes. Am I shivering in it? Yes. The air is actually colder than the water. So once you're up surfing, it's actually even colder. But if you can start to get over that, the neurotransmitter dump that you get and the expansion of the brain and the body that you get for challenging yourself. That's why cold plunge, it may look like and sound like a fad right now. That's here to stay, because that has finally hit the tipping point where people are like, oh, the neurology behind it, the neurochemistry behind it, the neurotransmitters behind it. All of that stuff is like, get out there. And it's not for show. It's because it literally, like, I will cold plunge by myself. I'm doing it from a healthcare provider standpoint and inspiring others to do that because it's so beneficial. And if I can do it, I swear anybody can do it. But also it's expanding my body's ability to do that. And then I don't go right into the sauna, but other days I'll sauna. And we go into 180 to 190 degree dry wood burning sauna on Sundays with my family. We do a sauna session. That's hot. But guess what? It's also going to help me age as gracefully as possible. And I want to be an example of that, much like Dr. Paula. I was listening to one of her lectures the other day. She was saying she's been taking this clear cleanse detox product as a protein powder supplement form. It increases detox pathways in the body for 20 years. Like, it's not time to do like a cleanse from time to time. It's like, what if we did, look how bright her skin is. Look how bright her eyes are. That is not by chance. That is by hard work and by choice. Yeah, you don't get to be 59 looking like that without doing the very uncomfortable things.
Thank you so much.
You just don't. So it's a thing, and it's something that we can do every single day to push the comfort levels and make sure that we are expanding our ability to adapt and adjust to life and also get adjusted.
And adaptability, that is really what it is, because the more we implement these principles and practices, the better our adaptability is. And it's interesting. So Ghetto Hippie, you're saying you're not as strong as Dr. Peabody. Well, I have to tell you something. I don't like the cold. So you will not find me cold plunging. But you will find me spending the rest of the 90% of my life doing everything else that fuels my longevity. And I'm just of firm belief that this is where, like, when cold plunging, as healthy as it is, when it comes in as a fad like that. So it's not a fad, but it came in as a fad. Exactly. And so things like that, to me, give people this license to say, oh, I'll just cold plunge and that'll just cold plunge all of my shit away. And it's like, it doesn't work that way. And the reason that Dr. Erica has such adaptability for this cold weather and the cold water is because she's actually also been doing it all summer. She started when it was cool outside, went into the hot summer months, and then every couple times a week, I don't know how many times you're surfing. And then, so her body became used to it. It had this adaptability and this flexibility for these temperature changes. She didn't just jump in a cold lake one day and call it a day, but she has built her inner strength, her inner resilience. And her body is like, now, okay, yeah, we got this.
Yeah.
You put me in a 55-degree lake and I'm like, no. She's invited me up north over New Year's to jump in the river on New Year's Day. And I'm like, peace out. Like, have fun.
Right.
Like,
and so when you say that, so if you look at our skin and our descent, I am of Scandinavian descent. I am in the upper cold temperatures, and Dr. Paula is exactly opposite. It is where we are yin and yang. Our heritage and our cultures we're of different descent.
From the desert.
And that actually matters too.
Yes.
But also, I started really getting into cold, years ago with injuries in particular, but now I do it just to do it. But I really got into it last fall because the normal things that reduce stress for me were off the table for me. That didn't stop me from pursuing things. And the cold plunge was a relatively simple thing to do in order to make sure that my mental health stayed on board while my physical health needed a little bit of a break. Like my physical pushing and extenuating circumstances and extreme temperatures and extreme workouts were off the table for me. So that's really when I got into it. And then, yes, I just cycled right through the season. And now I crave it like people would crave like sugar or something, you know what I mean? Like it's just there because I know, and now I've studied the benefits and the why is really big for me. So, but yeah, it's not for everybody. But yes, that Scandinavian blood, that's exactly it. It is the higher latitude of the world. That's where it's all in us. I mean,
well, and we contrast that. So I'm a mountain biker. So 90 degrees in the summer, 90-degree humidity. I'm like, I can't wait to get on my mountain bike. And I am out there. So that for me is like, oh my God. But somebody like Dr. Erica, when it gets hot like that, she's like, oh my God, I can't take it. And so it's this like beautiful yin and yang and this respect for who we are and our descent and what our bodies need and crave. And I have always craved that. I can be out in the hottest of hot days exercising. I'll be sweating and my body feels so energized. Like it's crazy. And people are like, you're crazy. And I'm like, yes, I am. And I feel amazing.
Well, do you remember at Milford Memories, I got into like a heat panic attack.
Yes.
Like my body, so my heart was fixed only just by, 2019. So 6 years ago. So before that, I was extreme hypoxia, like for my whole life. So I didn't have very good circulation. So now I do. And because 40 years, my body was dealing with that cold all the time. I have a very difficult time. I can do it if I'm intending to sweat 180 to 190 in the sauna. I don't stay in for an hour. I go back and forth between a cold shower, jump back in, cold shower, jump back in. But I can deal with a hot yoga class where I'm intended to sweat. And afterwards, I have a very difficult time with the regulation. And I got to a place where Dr. Paula was like, please get her ice or something. Like it's just different. Yeah. It's definitely.
I could see her like, it was almost like you go into fight or flight, your zone, right? Your visual field goes like this and you're looking for safety. And I could see this in her. And she was like looking for the nearest restaurant to walk into. And I went, oh my God. And so I went in and, behind her, ahead of her, I don't quite remember. And I immediately said to the server, and I was like, she's having like some heat exhaustion. She needs, please just immediately get her some. And the girl was so nice. She was like, okay. And then I went outside and found our friends and I'm like, we're going to be inside for a little bit which, killed me to go inside because
I know.
outside. But I had to help my friends,
Eating out on this, we really should have been eating out on the street. It was exceptionally warm though.
Yes, it was. Yes.
Exceptionally crowded. So, but yes, it's a thing, but it's also like, I also, we're just constantly pushing limits to see where those limits are and see if we can settle into that. And also, chiropractic helps us regulate inside of all of that. And it's a really beautiful thing there too. So,
yeah. And I think too, from going back to that word adaptability and then regulation, what you're saying is that really is the power of chiropractic, is that when you get the nervous system open and communicating and the lights are on and the communication superhighway is flowing, your ability to adapt and regulate is like, and also maybe that's why that's a whole nother piece of it. It's like, that's why we're able to like have this energy and be these high functioning women in business and then go out and just have an absolute blast. And that's the thing too. We make sure that when we get together, there is lots of laughter and there is lots of fun because we're so serious on a regular basis. We're always doing this. Like when we're not on here with you guys, Dr. Eric and I are like talking business and life and lifestyle. And, it's like, our drive never slows down, but we do force ourselves because we recognize the value and the health and the healing in that process and getting out of fight or flight. And chiropractic actually absolutely helps you do that.
One of the things that I talk about in the practice to everybody here is that, well, first of all, healing is retrospective, and we don't always feel the healing every single visit. So that's not what we're doing. But what we are doing is if you take your savings account and then you start adding to your savings account, when you have a setback, you have financial resilience there. We're doing the same thing with the body. So each adjustment, it adds to our physical, mental, emotional resilience. We have more bandwidth for life. But then when we have a setback, it's really cool because people will go through something traumatic. And a lot of times it's emotional stuff. It's not like we have car accidents coming in off of the street all the time. It's like emotional, mental, work stress, spouse stress, all the things. And the system gets like locked up. But because they've been under adjustments regularly for a very long time, one adjustment is like Control-Alt-Delete for the computer. And they're already back because they built that resilience, the financial resilience of a savings account, the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual resilience of the body lets you have a little bit of setback without screwing everything up. Patients that have been under care for, let's just say, the last 6 months. So they put their garden in the spring. Now they're pulling their garden out now. They know that in the past, after they pulled their garden out, like Dr. Paula did, they would have like a week and a half to recover from something like that. They're coming in right now and being like, my body feels great. I didn't expect it to be able to manage what I needed to manage to prep for the fall or prep for the season ahead this time around. And they're like, I feel amazing. And I said, it's because of that internal resilience you built. Now you did something extenuated and, extreme circumstance for your body. Maybe you did 8 hours of pulling your garden out, 3 hours, 2 hours, whatever it is. And they're like, I feel amazing. And it's so subtle that a lot of people can't really realize what's going on until they get out of chiropractic care. Then they're like, they come back 6 months later and they're like, I feel like crap. Oh yeah.
Why did I stop?
And then we make a safe landing for them and then they'll do it one more time and then they'll stay for life. And we see it all the time. They're like, they believe us and don't believe us. And then they'll believe us again and then don't believe us. And then they're like, it's like having a child. It's like, I don't know why I just didn't listen the first time. And we get it. You do have to learn what we've learned, but we see it every day for decades.
Well, and I think it's also that outside influence of why you have to go all the time. If it works, why do you have to go all the time? And people are like, because when I stop, I start to backslide. I see, and it does work, but you're in the thick of life and we might see you once a week for 5 minutes, and then you go out and you step in all the shit out there, and well, there's only so much we can hose you off on a weekly basis. But you know, to your point about that physical, when people are like, wow, I feel amazing. The other piece that we get, which I think is so amazing, is when people are like, you know, I used to get 3 sinus infections every year, and I haven't been sick once this winter. That is such a common thing people say. So we see people feeling amazing on the physical side, but then we have people who become metabolically healthier because their nervous systems are like, oh, we now have better bandwidth to fight viruses and colds and flus and regulate your brain and your gut and your sinuses. And yeah, I had a woman, she was like, you know, I've used nasal spray for 20 years. I haven't had to use my nasal spray. Do you think there's a correlation? Yes, absolutely. So, you know, so when, you know, people might call us quacks for saying chiropractic can keep you from getting sick, but there's actual data and actual science that shows that your T cells actually increase when you get a chiropractic adjustment. Your feel-good hormones, all your endorphins increase. And that is so, so powerful. And people could, you know, they'd be like, it's placebo. Well, placebo's powerful. It creates a cascade of very positive biochemicals that are healing to the body. So
Doggy.
take over.
That's so funny. Hey, you be quiet over there.
I know. He just wanted to chime in. So yeah, but that's the whole thing too, is like, we see the gamut of, not only does it help you physically, but mentally, and then of course, biochemically. So we're improving your metabolic health through chiropractic care because we are allowing for better resiliency. And you have to get out there and put more stress on your body. Stop backing down. Stop pretending that your body's not capable of it, because it is capable of more than you give it credit for. Right. Get in that Ferrari and stomp on the freaking gas.
That's right. That's right. That's a great spot to kind of wrap up. I wanted to make sure that you get the full effect for those of you who came on late.
We have our ears on. Yeah. Wait, hang on.
Today.
Hang on. Let's get a picture of us there. Okay. Smile. Okay, perfect. Awesome. All right, awesome. Well, thanks, you guys. We appreciate your input, your comments, and being here each and every week for us. And we will make sure you're subscribing, liking, sharing, all the things. And we will see you next week on Chiropractic is Sexy.
Okay, peace.
See ya.